A YouTube video made me realize that my wife is cheating on me. I was watching YouTube on a lazy Sunday afternoon when the algorithm recommended a travel vlog from some creator I'd never heard of. The thumbnail showed a rooftop bar with city lights, and the title was something generic like Best Hidden Spots in Phoenix. I clicked it because my wife Rachel and I had talked about visiting Phoenix someday, and I thought maybe I'd get some ideas for our anniversary trip. The video started with the usual vlogger energy, some guy in his 20s walking through downtown Phoenix talking about his favorite local spots. I was half paying attention, scrolling through my phone while the video played in the background. Then, at the 4-minute and 12-second mark, the camera panned across a restaurant patio, and I saw her, my wife Rachel, sitting at a corner table with a man I didn't recognize. She was laughing at something he said, and then she leaned across the table and kissed him. Not a friendly peck, but a real kiss that lasted 3 full seconds before the camera moved on to show the restaurant's menu board. I backed up the video and paused it on her face. It was definitely Rachel, wearing the blue sundress I'd bought her for her birthday last year and the silver necklace she never took off. Her hair was pulled back the way she always wore it when the weather was hot, and I could even see the small scar on her left shoulder from when she fell off her bike as a kid. I checked the video upload date, July 8th, 3 days ago. I looked at the description box and saw the creator had filmed this on July 4th, Independence Day. My stomach dropped because I knew exactly where Rachel had been on July 4th. She'd told me she was spending the long weekend with her sister in San Diego, helping her move into a new apartment. I'd stayed home because I had to work on Friday, and she'd left Thursday morning in her car with an overnight bag and a promise to text me when she got there. She'd sent photos from San Diego showing her and her sister at the beach, at restaurants, unpacking boxes in the new apartment. But this video showed her in Phoenix, 200 miles in the opposite direction, kissing someone else. I grabbed my phone and pulled up her text messages from July 4th. There was a photo, time-stamped at 2:47 p.m., showing Rachel and her sister Melissa sitting on a beach towel with the ocean behind them. The photo looked real, not photoshopped or fake in any obvious way. I opened the YouTube video again and checked the restaurant scene. The natural lighting suggested late afternoon or early evening, maybe around 5 or 6 p.m. based on the sun angle. I did the math in my head. Phoenix was about 5 hours from San Diego by car. There was no way she could have been at the beach at 2:47 and in Phoenix by evening on the same day, unless the beach photo was fake, or unless she hadn't been in San Diego at all. I called Melissa's number, my hands shaking enough that I had to redial twice before getting it right. She answered on the 4th ring with music and voices in the background like she was at a party or restaurant. "Hey, what's up?" Her voice was cheerful and slightly loud to compete with the background noise. "Quick question," I said, trying to keep my voice normal. "Was Rachel really with you on July 4th? There was a pause that lasted just a beat too long. "Yeah, of course." "Why? The entire long weekend?" Another pause. "Yeah, she was here from Thursday through Sunday." "Why are you asking?" "Just wanted to make sure she got there safely. You know how I worry when she drives long distances." Melissa's laugh sounded forced. "She got here fine. We had a great time, actually. She helped me unpack and we went to the beach and did some tourist stuff. It was really nice having her here." I thanked her and hung up before she could ask any more questions. Then I sat there staring at my phone, trying to figure out if Melissa was covering for Rachel or if I was losing my mind. I watched the YouTube video 3 more times, zooming in on Rachel's face during the kiss. Each time I watched it, I became more certain it was her, and not some random woman who looked similar. The scar on her shoulder was too specific, too unique to be a coincidence. I opened my laptop and logged into our shared credit card account, something I rarely did because Rachel handled most of our finances. I scrolled through the transactions from the July 4th weekend. There were charges from San Diego on Thursday and Friday. A gas station, a restaurant, a store at a shopping mall, all with San Diego zip codes. But then on Saturday, July 4th itself, there was a charge for $186 at a hotel in Phoenix. The transaction timestamp showed 3:47 p.m., which would have been right around the time she supposedly sent me that beach photo. I took a screenshot and checked the hotel's address. It was less than 2 miles from the restaurant where the YouTube video had been filmed. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I went back through more credit card statements, this time looking at the past 6 months. There were charges I'd never noticed before because I'd had no reason to be suspicious. Monthly charges to a phone number I didn't recognize, always for exactly $45. Hotel stays in cities Rachel had never mentioned visiting. Restaurant bills for 2 people in places she'd supposedly been alone. I found a charge from April for a store called Celebrations Plus in a town I'd never heard of. I Googled it and discovered it was a party supply store. The receipt showed she'd spent $340 on something, but the itemized details weren't available online. I called the store and asked if they could look up the transaction. The employee put me on hold for 3 minutes, then came back and told me the purchase had been for custom invitations and decorations for an anniversary party. "What anniversary?" I asked, my voice coming out strangled. The employee hesitated, then said she wasn't supposed to give out customer information. I hung up and sat there trying to process what I was learning. Rachel and I had been married for 7 years. Our anniversary was in October, not April. Whose anniversary had she been celebrating? I checked my phone and saw 3 missed calls from Rachel. She'd be home from work in an hour, and I had no idea what I was going to say to her. I couldn't confront her without more information because she'd just deny everything and make me feel crazy for questioning her. I needed proof that was undeniable. I went back to the YouTube video and looked at the comments section. Someone had written, "Love this place. My wife and I celebrated our anniversary there last year, and the sunset view is amazing." Another comment said, "Is that the rooftop patio? I proposed to my girlfriend there in June." I scrolled through dozens of comments until I found one from user Phoenix Local 2019 that said, "Hey, I think I see my friend at 415 LOL Small World." I clicked on the user's profile and sent them a direct message. "Hey, you commented about seeing your friend in a travel vlog video. Can you tell me anything about the couple at the table around 412? I think that might be my wife, but I'm not sure." I didn't expect a response, but one came back within 20 minutes. "Oh yeah, that's definitely the couple I was talking about. My friend is the guy in the video. His name is David Brennan. They looked pretty cozy. Are you sure that's your wife?" My hands were shaking as I typed back. "What can you tell me about David Brennan?" The response came faster this time. "He's a real estate agent here in Phoenix. Nice guy, divorced about 3 years ago. He's been dating someone seriously for like 6 months, but he keeps it pretty private. Why?" I thanked them and closed the message thread. Then I Googled David Brennan Real Estate Phoenix and found his business website immediately. The photo on his About page showed the same man from the video, clean-cut with dark hair and a smile that probably sold a lot of houses. His bio said he specialized in luxury properties and had lived in Phoenix for 15 years. There was a contact number and an email address. I stared at the phone number for a long time, trying to decide if I should call him. Before I could make up my mind, I heard Rachel's car pull into the driveway. I closed my laptop and shoved my phone in my pocket and tried to arrange my face into something that looked normal. She came through the front door carrying grocery bags and smiling like this was any other evening. "Hey, babe," she said, kissing my cheek as she walked past toward the kitchen. "How was your day?" "Fine," I lied. "How was yours?" "Same old. Boring meetings and paperwork. I'm exhausted." She started unpacking groceries and talking about something her coworker had said, and I stood there watching her and wondering how long she'd been lying to me like this. I waited until after dinner, after we'd watched an episode of some show she liked, after she'd taken a shower and gotten ready for bed. Then I asked casually, "Hey, when you were in San Diego with Melissa on the 4th, what beach did you guys go to?" She looked up from her phone. "What? The beach in the photo you sent me. Which one was it? I'm thinking about surprising you with a weekend trip there since you seem to love it so much." Her expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes for just a second. "Oh, it was called La Jolla Shores. Really pretty. You'd like it." I nodded like that made sense. "Cool. Maybe we can go for our anniversary. That would be nice." She smiled and went back to scrolling through her phone. I took out my own phone and pulled up Google Maps. La Jolla Shores looked nothing like the beach in her photo. The sand was a different color. The rock formations were all wrong. The entire geography didn't match. She'd sent me a fake photo or a photo from a completely different beach, which meant she'd planned this lie in advance. She'd known she wasn't going to San Diego, had probably never intended to go there, and had prepared fake evidence to cover her tracks. The next morning after Rachel left for work, I hired a private investigator. I found one online with good reviews and a reasonable rate, and I paid extra for rush service. I gave him everything I had: the YouTube video, the credit card statements, David Brennan's information, Rachel's work schedule. He said he could have preliminary results within a week, maybe sooner if he got lucky. I asked him to document everything, to get photos and timestamps and GPS data, whatever he could find that would prove what was happening. He called me 3 days later and asked if I could meet him at his office. When I got there, he had a folder on his desk that was easily 2 inches thick. "Your wife has been seeing David Brennan for approximately 7 months, he said without preamble. "They meet every other Thursday afternoon at a hotel in Phoenix called the Desert Rose Inn. She tells you she's working late, but her car leaves her office parking lot at 2:30 p.m. and drives straight to Phoenix. She stays at the hotel for 3 to 4 hours, then drives back. She usually gets home around 8 or 9 p.m., which matches her usual late work night timing." He spread photos across the desk, Rachel's car in the hotel parking lot, Rachel walking into the hotel lobby, Rachel and David Brennan standing close together near the elevator, Rachel leaving the hotel alone hours later. The timestamps on the photos showed this had happened 6 times in the past 2 months alone. The investigator pushed another document toward me. "This is the registration information for room 412 at the Desert Rose Inn. It's a monthly rental under David Brennan's name. He's been paying for it since January. 7 months. She'd been doing this for 7 months, and I'd never suspected anything until a random YouTube video showed me the truth. I asked the investigator if there was anything else. He hesitated, then pulled out another set of photos. These were older, dated from April. They showed Rachel and David at what looked like a party or celebration. There were balloons and decorations, and a cake with writing I couldn't read in the photos. The investigator zoomed in on one of the images. The cake says, "Happy First Anniversary." I stared at the photo, their first anniversary. They'd been celebrating a full year together in April, which meant this had been going on for at least 13 months, not 7. The investigator had gotten the timeline wrong initially, or maybe Rachel had been even more careful in the earlier months. "Do you want me to continue surveillance?" he asked. "Or is this enough for you?" "This is enough." I paid him and took the folder home and sat at my kitchen table, looking through every photo, every receipt, every piece of evidence. Rachel came home at 5:30, earlier than usual, carrying takeout from my favorite restaurant. "I got us dinner," she said brightly. "Thought we could have a nice evening together." I looked at her standing in my kitchen holding takeout containers and smiling like she hadn't been living a double life for over a year. "Why?" I asked. "Why what? Why did you get dinner? It's Wednesday. You never get dinner on Wednesday." She laughed. "I can't do something nice for my husband without an interrogation." The word husband felt like a slap. I stood up and walked to where my laptop sat on the counter. I opened it and pulled up the YouTube video and pressed play. I watched her face as the video reached the 4-minute mark and showed her kissing David Brennan on that Phoenix restaurant patio. All the color drained from her face. She put the takeout containers down slowly. "That's not what it looks like," she said. Her voice was shaking. "What does it look like, Rachel? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're cheating on me." She backed up against the counter. "I can explain. Then explain. Explain the hotel reservations. Explain the credit card charges. Explain why you've been lying to me for over a year." Tears started running down her face. "I never meant for this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you, but you did it anyway." I opened the folder from the investigator and spread the contents across the kitchen counter. Photos of her and David, hotel receipts, GPS data, everything. She stared at the evidence like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. "Where did you get all this? Does it matter? You lied to me. You made me feel crazy for asking basic questions about your schedule. You celebrated an anniversary with another man while you were married to me." She sank into a chair and put her head in her hands. I know. Okay, I messed up. I messed up so badly." "Why?" The question came out as almost a whisper. "Why did you do this?" She looked up at me with red eyes. "Because I was unhappy. Because I felt stuck. Because David made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in years. And you thought lying was better than just telling me you wanted out? I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to hurt you. So, you hurt me anyway. Just slowly, over 13 months, instead of all at once. That's so much better." She started sobbing. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, we can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. I don't want to fix this. I want you to pack your things and get out of my house. Our house. It's our house. Not anymore. I want you gone by morning." She looked at me like I'd slapped her. "You can't just kick me out. We need to talk about this like adults. We needed to talk about it before you started sleeping with someone else. Now we need to talk about divorce lawyers." The word divorce seemed to hit her hard. She stood up and tried to walk toward me, but I stepped back. "Please," she said. "Please don't do this. We can work through anything if we try." I shook my head. "There's nothing to work through. You made your choice 13 months ago. Now I'm making mine." She grabbed her purse and her keys. "I'm not leaving. This is my home too. You can sleep on the couch or go to David's place, I don't care. But we're done." She stood there for another minute, crying and trying to find words that would make this different. Then she walked out, slamming the door behind her. I heard her car start and drive away, and I sat down at the kitchen table with all the evidence spread out in front of me and finally let myself fall apart. The takeout she'd brought was still sitting on the counter, getting cold. My phone buzzed an hour later. A text from Rachel. "Can we please talk about this? I made a mistake, but I love you. We can fix this." I didn't respond. Another text came 5 minutes later. "I know you're angry, but please give me a chance to explain everything. It's not what you think." I blocked her number. Then I called my brother and told him everything. He offered to come over, but I said I needed to be alone. I needed to sit with what had happened and figure out what came next. That night I couldn't sleep, so I went back to the YouTube video and read through the comments again. Someone had written, "Relationship goals," with a heart emoji on the exact frame where Rachel was kissing David. I wanted to comment back and tell them the truth, but what would that accomplish? Instead, I liked the video and subscribed to the channel. If it hadn't been for that random algorithm recommendation, I might never have known. The next morning, Rachel came back with her sister Melissa. I heard them talking outside before they knocked. Melissa looked uncomfortable when I opened the door. "Hey," she said quietly. "Rachel asked me to come help her get some things." I stepped aside and let them in. Melissa went straight to the bedroom while Rachel stood in the doorway looking at me. "Did you talk to Melissa?" I asked Rachel. "About July 4th? Her face crumpled. "Yes, and she covered for me. "She sent you those photos from when we were in San Diego 2 years ago? I wasn't with her that weekend. I was in Phoenix with David. At least she was finally telling the truth, even if it was too late to matter." Melissa came back carrying 2 suitcases. She wouldn't look at me. "I'm sorry," she said as they walked toward the door. "I should have told you. This isn't your fault," I told her. "You were put in an impossible position." They left, and I changed the locks that afternoon. Then I sat down with my laptop and started Googling divorce attorneys. I found one who specialized in infidelity cases. and sent an email requesting a consultation. My phone rang from an unknown number around 8 p.m. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello, a man's voice. Is this Rachel's husband? Who is this? My name is David Brennan. I think we need to talk. I should have hung up immediately, but curiosity kept me on the line. What could you possibly have to say to me? Look, I know this is messed up. I know I'm not your favorite person right now, but I think you deserve to know the whole truth. I'm listening. Rachel told me she was separated from you. She said you were living in different places and just hadn't filed the paperwork yet. She said you both knew the marriage was over. I laughed, but it came out bitter. We live in the same house. We sleep in the same bed. We were planning our anniversary trip next month. There was silence on the other end. She told me you were staying together for financial reasons until you could sell the house, that you hadn't been intimate in over a year. We were intimate 2 weeks ago. I heard him take a sharp breath. She lied to me. She lied to both of us. Apparently that's what she does. Another long silence. I'm sorry. I had no idea. I would never have gotten involved if I'd known she was lying about your situation. Does that make you feel better? Knowing you were lied to too? No. Nothing about this makes me feel better. Why did you call me? Because I needed to know if what she told me was true. And now I know it wasn't. So what happens now? Are you going to keep seeing her? No. I can't be with someone who lied to me like this. I can't trust her. Welcome to my world. He apologized again and hung up. I sat there holding my phone and trying to process what had just happened. Rachel had lied to both of us, built 2 separate versions of her life, and maintained them for over a year. The level of deception required for that was staggering. My phone buzzed with a text from another unknown number. This is David. I'm texting you the name of the hotel and the room number. I paid for it through the end of the month, but I'm not going back there. If you want to see where she spent her Thursday afternoons, the information is yours. I stared at the message. Part of me wanted to delete it and never think about that hotel room again, but another part of me needed to see it, needed to understand the full scope of what had been happening. I drove to Phoenix the next Thursday afternoon. The Desert Rose Inn was nicer than I expected, a boutique hotel with desert landscaping and valet parking. I told the front desk I was meeting someone in room 412, and they gave me a key card without asking questions. The room was on the 4th floor at the end of a quiet hallway. I stood outside the door for a full minute before swiping the card and pushing it open. The room was exactly what you'd expect from a long-term hotel rental. A king bed with expensive linens, a sitting area with a couch and TV, a small kitchenette, a bathroom with a large tub. It looked like a normal hotel room except for the personal touches that made it clear someone had been spending significant time here. There were photos on the nightstand, Rachel and David at various locations, smiling and happy, a drawer full of her clothes, her favorite shampoo in the shower, a coffee mug with her lipstick stain on the rim. I walked through the room like a detective at a crime scene, documenting everything with my phone camera. In the closet, I found a dress I'd never seen her wear. In the bathroom cabinet, there was medication prescribed to her that I didn't know she was taking. On the desk, there was a leather journal with her handwriting filling the pages. I picked it up and opened to a random entry from 3 months ago. The entry talked about her Thursday ritual, how she loved having a space that was just hers and David's, how she felt like she was living 2 separate lives and sometimes forgot which one was real. She wrote about feeling guilty but also feeling more alive than she had in years. She wrote about planning to tell me eventually, but never finding the right time. She wrote about how she thought she could have both lives indefinitely if she was just careful enough. I took photos of several pages and then put the journal back exactly where I'd found it. I spent 2 hours in that hotel room, cataloging every piece of evidence. Then I locked the door behind me and drove home. That night, I sent Rachel an email with all the photos attached. I went to your hotel room today, saw everything. The journal entries were particularly enlightening. My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce proceedings. Don't contact me again except through legal channels. Her response came back within 5 minutes, full of apologies and explanations and desperate pleas for another chance. I deleted it without reading past the first line. My consultation with the divorce attorney was scheduled for the following Monday. I showed up with 3 folders full of evidence, the original investigation report, the hotel room photos, screenshots of text messages, and credit card statements. The attorney, a woman in her 50s named Patricia Lansing, looked through everything with a neutral expression. "This is very thorough," she said finally. "Your wife will have a hard time disputing any of this. What are my options? Nevada is a no-fault divorce state, but infidelity can affect things like alimony and asset division. With this much evidence, we can push for a favorable settlement. How long will it take? 4 to 6 months if she cooperates, longer if she fights it." I signed the retainer agreement and left her office feeling simultaneously relieved and devastated. This was really happening. My 7-year marriage was ending because a random YouTube video had appeared in my algorithm at exactly the right moment. Rachel tried to call me 23 times over the next week. She sent emails, texts from different numbers, even showed up at my office until building security escorted her out. She sent her sister, her mother, her best friend to try to convince me to talk to her. I refused all of it. 2 weeks after I filed for divorce, she sent a registered letter. It was 11 pages long, handwritten, explaining everything in excruciating detail. how she'd met David at a real estate conference, how they'd started talking and then meeting for coffee, and then it had escalated into something more, how she'd never meant for it to go on this long, how she was planning to end it but kept putting it off because she didn't want to hurt anyone, how she still loved me despite everything. The letter ended with a plea. Please give me one more chance. I know I don't deserve it. I know I destroyed your trust, but we built a life together, and that has to count for something. I read the letter once and then filed it with the rest of the divorce paperwork. It counted for something, but not enough to outweigh 13 months of lies. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Rachel didn't fight it in the end. She signed everything her lawyer put in front of her and split our assets down the middle. I kept the house because I could afford the mortgage on my own, and she didn't want to stay there anyway. The day the divorce was final, I blocked her on every platform I could think of. Then I sat down and wrote an email to the YouTuber whose video had started all of this. I thanked him for posting that travel vlog, explained that he'd inadvertently helped me discover my wife's affair, and told him his content had changed my life in ways he could never have anticipated. He responded the next day saying he was sorry for what I'd gone through, but glad his video had helped me find the truth. 6 months after the divorce, I was scrolling through YouTube and saw that the algorithm had recommended another one of his videos. This one was titled Best Rooftop Bars in Denver. I almost didn't click it, but curiosity won out. At the 7-minute mark, the camera panned across a crowded bar, and I saw someone who looked exactly like Rachel sitting at a corner table with a different man. But when I paused and zoomed in, I realized it wasn't her, just someone who looked similar from a distance. I closed the video and finally felt like I could breathe. Appreciate you watching this far. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe so you won't miss the next story.